a world of fast cars, instant coffee, and the next best thing coming out every minute, it is no wonder that this generation of people wants everything now. This need for speed does not exclude breakthroughs in the scientific and medical communities. Embryonic stem cell researchers have given an extravagant promise, a promise of having cures immediately available for such things as paralysis, Parkinson's disease, heart disease, and diabetes. However, it has not been acted upon. Embryonic stem cell research is still young and faces significant hurdles. Is it really worth taking a life to save a life? In the adult body, there's an array of sources from which stem cells may be obtained. For one, bone marrow contains blood-forming stem cells, which have been used for decades to treat blood cancers and other blood disorders. Stem cells have also been isolated from the brain, spinal cord, pulp of the teeth, muscles, skin, digestive tract, and even other organs. So it's clearly shown there are several other options for gathering stem cells apart from embryos. Even in babies, another option exists, umbilical cord blood. Instead of using the stem cells from the young embryos, why not use stem cells found in the cord blood? Rather than killing the baby at 4 to 6 days of age for stem cells, why not give the baby a full 40 weeks, let him or her live, and use the stem cells found in the umbilical cord for research? In gathering stem cells from the umbilical cord, no embryos are destroyed. It is not necessary to take a life to save a life. The use of embryonic stem cells in curing diseases has not yet been proven effective, whereas adult stem cells have. The Do No Harm Coalition keeps a running scorecard tallying the number of conditions treated with adult stem cells versus those treated with embryonic stem cells. As of April 2007, the tally was 73-0 in favor of adult stem cells. And in 2009 alone, CNN reported that the use of adult stem cells treated a leukemia patient who was HIV positive, and this treatment appears to have eliminated HIV from his body. The BBC reported that adult stem cells have been used to successfully treat patients with type 1 diabetes. The WWJ News Radio reported that a thorough study has been proven that adult stem cells can treat spinal cord injuries. You do not have to take a life to save a life. Embryonic stem cells also pose risks to patients. The risk of tumors is very real. In an animal model of Parkinson's disease, rats injected with embryonic stem cells showed a slight benefit in about 50% of the rats, but 1/5 of the rats died of brain tumors caused by the embryonic stem cells. Another potential risk is that of rejection by the patient's immune system. Doctors at the Children's Hospital know the use of embryonic stem cells could be complicated by issues of rejection, with the recipient's immune system rejecting the foreign embryonic stem cells. With adult stem cells taken from the recipient and then reintroduced in an autologous manner, rejection would not be an issue. Recent advances have shown that it is possible to make adult stem cells mimic the desired traits of embryonic stem cells. Is it worth taking a life to save a life? Another major issue associated with this topic is its morality. We who oppose the use of embryonic stem cells in this research believe that it violates a fundamental moral imperative to protect human life, even at its earliest stage. The pro-life platform stands on the fact that embryonic stem cell research destroys a human life. The embryos used to gather stem cells from are 4 to 6 days old, and the process used to gain these cells is one which destroys the embryo. Is destroying a living, growing human wrong? Is it really worth taking a life to save a life? What about the use of extra embryos for use of study and research? This argument begins with the topic of couples who are trying to have children through means of in vitro fertilization, but then donate the unused embryos. Many pro-choice advocates would say that the use of these extras is fine. They believe that if the embryos do not get used, they will just be thrown away and destroyed. This, however, is simply not the case. The parents generally have at least 2 other options. First, preserve the embryos for possible future attempts at pregnancy, which is chosen by about 90% according to a study by the RAND Corporation. Second, donate the embryos to another couple struggling with infertility so they can have children. Every embryo whether it is frozen or not, is a human life that has a value and worth. Is it really worth taking a life to save a life? Many pro-choice researchers agree that the potential for cures excuses the destruction of these embryos. Even if the destruction is not the best thing to do, they say the benefit is worth it. But why take the risk? The researchers and medical professionals behind embryonic stem cell research claim to have the good of the people in mind. Does the end really justify the means? The advocates of pro-choice have said that the potential to cure these diseases gives hope. Hope, an intangible object, may be allotted a price, but should that price be a human life? Is it really worth taking a life to save a life? The motives of each side have been questioned. Proponents of embryonic stem cell researchers frequently argue that opponents are motivated more by religious belief rather than scientific fact or concern for suffering individuals. On the other side, opponents of embryonic stem cell research state that pro-choice advocates have their own ulterior motive: money. The ill have been made a pawn of money-hungry researcher and corporate interests. Is it really worth taking a life to save a life? Embryonic stem cell research has promised to lead to great things, but has not yet done so. The use of adult stem cells has both been put to use and proven effective. One thing that must be understood is that knowledge does not inherently lead to wisdom. Is it really worth taking a life to save a life?